Hey there, it's your boy Foxy, back for more relationship stories. Update. My mom bragged about how she kept my dad out of my life, and I grew up thinking he abandoned me. Original post. I, 19 female, grew up with a single mom. Growing up, I was always told my father abandoned me. It happened when I was around 10 when I asked my mom about my dad, and she told me straight up that he abandoned me. I cried so much that day it's not a joke. As I grew older, I hated him, even though I never met him. I thought about if he came back how I would scream at him, ruin him, or attack him for leaving. Last week my mom and I was at her friend's house. I went along because I'm friends with her friend's daughter. Well, fast forward, I came downstairs and heard my mom say my name. She revealed my dad's name and said, "It's easy to keep a father out of a kid's life like what I did with Lena's father after I found out he cheated on me." She was also talking about how pathetic he looked when he pleaded with her to stay in my life. She also added how she used his old addiction against him in court. So, from how I understand, he was sober before I was born. I made contact with my bio dad as soon as we got home. The next morning I got a reply and he asked for my number so we can talk. The first thing my dad said when he called was apologize. He told me it's all his fault. After talking with him for a while, I told him I'd love to have a relationship with him. He lives not far from our city, about 2-hour drive. As for my mom, while she was at work, I sent her a text telling her about what I heard, and I'll be cutting off contact with her for a while, and probably forever. Edit. So I forgot to mention, I inherited my uncle's house after he died, and that is when mom started acting weird. She believed that the house belonged her and fought with my grandfather over it, but he put his foot down and told her it's my house. Secondly, when I turned 18 and moved into the house, my mom came along. I didn't want to live with her again, but she told she'll cut off my college fund. Well, now my grandpa told me he'll pay for my college. Also, more about my mom. When my parents split up, my grandfather told her he doesn't support her decision to keep my father out of my life, but she told him then that he will never see me either. Also, my mom acts like my house belongs to her, and always told me, technically it's my house, and should have been given to me. Another thing is that, my father quit drugs long before he met her. My mom confessed to this. Also, I was told by my grandpa not long after telling my mom she is no longer in my house, that my dad loved me with all his heart when I was only a couple of months old. Apparently, my dad almost made it impossible for others to hold me. Next thing is that my dad did confess to cheating. I already asked my mom to explain her side, and she said yes, he did quit the bad habit long before he met her. However, that's about it. So far, all she wants is for me to forgive her. I did ask my dad for his side, but he hasn't replied yet, but told me he'll call me later. Now for the top comments before reading the update. That is an awful thing to do to your kids. I'm glad you made contact with your dad. It's never too late to work on your relationship with him. If my husband and I ever got divorced, I wouldn't keep him from the kids. That would punish my kids who are innocent. I don't get women like this. As a mother, I put my kids first always, and what is best for them. My ex and I now live far enough apart that a plane ride is necessary for us to get our child back and forth. There have been times, however, that he has flown down here for special events regarding our child. He either sleeps on my couch or in our child's room. He will hang out with us while my husband and I cook dinner, and often does all the cleanup after. He has even told my husband and I to go out on a date while he stays home with all of the kids. Our divorce wasn't easy at first, but we make it work for our kids. Unless their father was an active addict and are wanted for horrific crimes, there is no reason to keep a willing father out of a child's life. As a child of divorced parents who put my sister and I first, I want to say thanks on behalf of your kids. Divorce is never easy and it's hard on the kids, but seeing your parents put you first means the world. OP, I know Reddit is quick to say lawyer up, but this is a situation where one would be a good idea. You need to make sure that you protect your assets, as well as make sure that your mom hasn't been trying to pull shady stuff without your knowledge and consent. For example, either forging your signature or getting you to sign something under the guise of it being something else. Her saying technically it's my house when it legally isn't, who knows what other boundaries she's pushing. I would definitely get legal advice. I hate parents that keep the kids away from the other parent just to spite them. Unless the other parent is a dealer or works for the cartels or crap like that, no excuse for it. My ex-wife did that to her first husband, kept the 2 kids from him, and he would beg her to see them. But no, to spite him, she kept them from him, and she would tell the kids, "Oh, your father is out having fun with his new wife and has no time for y'all," which was BS. And sadly, the kids grew up hating the man. It wasn't until a few years after we divorced when I ran into him at a restaurant downtown, and I told him I hated how she did that to him, and it was unfair and cruel because he missed them growing up. Last I heard, he and the two kids reconciled, and they apologized for hating him since they never knew the truth. I hope the kids cut her off. Yes, my auntie did this to my uncle after they split up as well. Would tell him that the kids were sick and couldn't go to his place, or that they didn't want to see him that week. Then she would turn around and say to them, as they sat waiting with their bags for their dad to come, who didn't show up because he was told not to, she would say, "See, your dad doesn't want you or something." While he has gone on to be involved in his son's life when he was older. Unfortunately, his relationship with his daughter never recovered. She still believes her mother's toxic lies and refuses to let her dad try to reconcile and be in her life. It's really sad. My other auntie and uncle divorced because she gambled their house away. Many years later, when she was no longer a gambling addict, they actually got back together. And yet we were the black sheep of the family and left out of things because we were poor. And now for the update. First of all, thanks so much for the support. I'm surprised my post got so much support. I cannot thank you enough. Anyway, I met up with my dad at a restaurant today as he thought it would be better to talk in person. I was shocked when I saw him. He looks to be in great shape. However, I could tell he was crying. When I approached him, he pulled me into a hug and apologized a few more times for not being there, and that he really wants to fix things while he has a chance. We started talking, and there was much more to the story than my dad just being a cheater. So here it goes. During my mom's pregnancy, she constantly put my dad down. Like she would tell him, "You should be happy you're with me and not some unimportant witch," or "You're not good enough for me, I'm just with you for the sake of our child." My dad said that he thought it was just her pregnancy hormones, but then it got worse after I was born. Her ego was through the roof, but what really took the cake was when my mom said, "It's such shame my daughter will probably grow up to be a failure like her father." I was taken aback by this. I asked my dad if that's the reason he cheated, and he said no. He should have just called off the wedding, but instead he cheated. He apologized a few more times and told me he loves me, and that he never forgot about me. And when I texted him for the first time, he couldn't believe it was me until he saw my profile picture. We both cried for a while until our breakfast arrived. Now onto my mom. I just want to add that my mom started threatening me after I told her she is getting evicted. At first it went from pathetic apologies to full-on threats. She told she'll ruin me if I abandon her, make sure I lose everything. Anyways, after speaking to my dad, I wanted to see if my mom will confirm it. And she did with no shame. She admitted it like it was a freaking achievement, with no remorse may I add. Then she went back to sweet talks and then back to threatening me. Someone told me I should see if I can forgive her and probably not go no contact. But after today, I doubt I want anything to do with her. I also think she's the one who told all my ex-boyfriends that they're not good enough because they all broke up with me shortly after meeting her without any explanation. And I'm done with her. My grandpa told me he'll help me with the eviction and possibly a restraining order due to the threats. I am going to visit my dad as soon as she's out of the house. Definitely restraining order, and don't fall for her BS threats. I don't think she's entitled to any of your stuff anyway, but maybe talking to a lawyer would be a safe option. Seems like she's trying to manipulate you like she did your whole childhood about your pops. You got this. Thanks. And take your valuables and important documents, and anything else you are attached to out of the house until she's gone. And change the locks afterwards naturally, and get a security system. And cams that cover your parked car. This. Also be watching your credit history. Crappy parents often steal their children's identities, because, of course, they know all the details needed to do so. I'm so sorry this happened to you. I'm glad you found your father, and can get away from your mother who seems to be a very toxic person. I wish you all the happiness and hope you get some good lawyers to make sure you have your peace without you mother meddling with something that will mess anything up for you. Thanks. I wish I saw her toxicity earlier. It sounds like at least for the most part your mom may have done a better job of hiding who she was from you. But once the cat was out of the bag, so to speak, she decided to let her true nature display itself. I suspect if it wasn't over your dad, it would have been when you went against her wishes on pretty much anything else. A couple of suggestions. If you have anything of sentimental or actual value that is relatively small, as well as any important papers, you might want to consider moving them to a safety deposit box at a bank or somewhere else until your mother is out. Once she is out, get all the locks changed. If you don't already have one, consider getting a security system, with internal as well as external cameras, or at a minimum a video doorbell so you can see who is at your door. Not sure where you reside, but if in the US, I would suggest you contact all 3 credit bureaus and request a detailed credit report from each. At that time, I would also suggest you consider locking your credit, which prevents any new credit relying on credit checks to be opened in your name. It will not prevent any existing credit accounts from being used or increased, so anything that exists as an account that you didn't request you will at the very least need to close. And if any balance, consider reporting it as fraud so you aren't responsible for paying it. Reminder to keep all the information each credit bureau gives you for unlocking your credit also in a safe and secure location that your mother can't access. Glad things with meeting your father went well. Wish you the best in getting this all worked out so your mother is out of your house as considerably less involved in your life if not totally removed from it. Now for the last story. My dad's job ruined our relationship. Hi, I'm female 22 and my dad male 57 is a surgeon. I hate that. I never had a dad growing up. He was more like that friendly neighbor that comes over for dinner from time to time. My dad always put his job before his family. I don't blame him as he has a very important job and he's saving lives, but growing up, me and my siblings didn't have a dad. He was rarely home, he was never there for our biggest accomplishments, he never came to our games, school plays, birthdays, holidays. We barely saw him. We never blamed him for choosing to save a life instead of coming to our games, but it ruined any relationship we could have. We don't see him as a father figure because he was never one. Yes, we never worried about money. We went to the best schools. We always got what we wanted like toys, clothes, cars, etc., but that never filled the void of not having a real father. We never asked for these things, we asked for him. My younger sister 18 just got her driver's license, and dad didn't even know she wanted to drive. My older brother 29 became a dad 4 months ago. My dad didn't even know he was married when he's been married for 2 years. I got married 3 weeks ago. We've been dating for 8 years, and my dad still doesn't know his name. I wanted my dad to give me away, but it was my father-in-law who did it instead. I even delayed the wedding waiting and hoping my dad would show up. He didn't. He just sent a text the next day about staying late with some guy because he didn't want to be alone, and my dad felt that it was his job to be there for him. That's when I finally realized we will never come first. His job will always be more important than any of us. My dad is not a bad man and he's a great surgeon, but his job got in the way, and I'm honestly done trying. Missing my wedding was the last straw. I'm done with him. He never made an effort to be in our lives. My mom worked too. She's the CEO of a big company, and she obviously has a lot of responsibilities, but she made time. She was there for birthdays and holidays. She came to our school events. Not all, but she came to a lot of them. She drove my brother to college when he left, and then she did the same for me. She taught all of us how to drive. She always made breakfast and dinner for us and never let us help her. She would say something like, "You're my kids and I'm doing this for you. I want to make something nice for you. If you help, then it wouldn't be me who did it." My mom was always my dad because he couldn't be. I'm tired of people making excuses for him. My extended family, my friends, basically anyone that knows, just says that my dad is a hero and I need to cut him some slack. It's always he's tired, he had a long day, he's saving lives, he's busy, and I'm sick of these excuses. He missed my wedding from a crappy reason in my opinion. He wasn't saving a life, he was holding a hand, while I was sitting in my dress crying and considering canceling the wedding so my dad could be there. Thank you for reading this. I really needed to vent. What country are you from? One of the jokes we say about neurosurgeons is, how do you hide $5 from a neurosurgeon? Tape it to his kid's forehead. All in all, to some extent, he chose to be absent. Of course you're hurting. Surgeons do work terrible hours, but I know several that are capable of having families. It is a strain and it is hard, especially during residency. But the fact that he didn't know your brother was married, that's next level. Priorities. And also, even a friendly neighbor of 20 years would know you're married and who that person is. Priorities. I was shadowing a physician last year and I usually ask what's their best advice for aspiring physicians. This one guy can't even remember his specialty, but he was like 60 or 70. He said his best advice was to remember that medicine is just a job. It's no different from any other job out there, and he wished he made that realization sooner. I asked why, and he said he regrets the time he spent choosing work over time he could have had with his daughters. I'm so sorry. I'm pretty sure that guy would be horrified that your dad held his hand instead of going to your wedding. You are lucky you have a wonderful mom who made up for it. Maybe one day when he retires or gets sick, he'll reorient his priorities and realize what he's missed out on. The sad thing is he won't even notice you've given up on him. I'm going to put this bluntly because I believe you know the answer. Your dad chose to do this. There are tons of options for increasing a work-life balance as a physician, but your dad chose not to for whatever reason. Be it the narcissistic belief that he's not replaceable, the ego he gets from doing this, or just not being able to form real-life relationships. My father did the same thing, just with computer engineering. He would often sleep in his office, or come home after I was asleep and before I woke. He never checked on me when he came home. As much as these hurts, it is not a reflection of you or your siblings. He made his choice and you don't have to have contact with him at all. Therapy and time have helped me heal and fix the pattern. I hope it can for you too. You deserve better. Yes, I know 2 surgeons who are very involved in their children's lives. The job can consume you if you let it, but it doesn't have to. I always felt a little guilty that my surgeon canceled his family's vacation in the way to the airport because they finally found a heart for me when I was 12. My mom and aunts took 2 weeks to prepare a huge feast for the entire hospital as a thank you. The Cleveland Clinic is huge, and doctors, nurses, and families from every building on the campus heard about the thank you dinner, and they all came. It took a lot of people to just get all the food inside.